I run over to the wheelbarrow. She's still driving, right? Slow, still driving. And I throw the bag into the wheelbarrow. I run back to get into the car. I close the door. I said, great, it's done. Bruce is going to be happy. And all of a sudden behind me, right? There goes the flashing lights. One of the CEOs must have seen me dropping in, and he comes after us. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of a Sit Down with Michael Franzese. And as you know, I am Michael Franzese, your host, your narrator. Good to see you, good to be back, and hope everybody had a great week and hope you're getting through this COVID thing a little bit better. I see some light at the end of the tunnel. I think this is going to be over sooner than later. Things are going to get back to normal, and we're getting through it, right? So what are we going to do today? You know, everybody has a fascination, it seems, with prison stories. And obviously, like you know, I did 8 years in prison, arrested 17 times, have a lot of prison experience, visited my father for over 35 years, and now I go into prisons and I speak to a lot of young people, a lot of inmates. I have a heart for them, and so I try to go there, uplift them a little bit, let them know that they should be encouraged, that they can get out of a bad situation. That's what I do. But people seem to be fascinated with prison stories. So I have one that I think you're going to enjoy. I'll tell you how it started. I just got out of prison, actually. I was on parole. I had, spent 8 years there, 3 years in the hole. I'm out on parole. And I happened to meet a guy by the name of Howard Baldwin. Now, who is Howard Baldwin? He owned the Pittsburgh Penguins at one time, the hockey team. He was also a big film producer. He produced the movie Ray, a bunch of other films, him and his wife, Karen. Great, great, great people. So I happened to meet Howard. He's introduced to me by somebody, another friend of mine, and Howard wants to make a movie on my life. And I said, you know, Howard, I just got out of prison. I don't know if that's smart right now. I actually went to visit my parole officer, and she ran this down to me. She said, Franzese, you got a year left on parole. You violated once already. Here's what I'm telling you. Don't ask me for anything. Anything you ask me for, the answer is no. I just want you to stay in your house, do what you got to do, get past this, and get off the parole and go on with your life. So she actually did me a favor. So I said, Howard, I don't know if it's a good idea. He said, well, I'll tell you what. He had an office on the Universal lot right next door to Steven Spielberg's bungalow. He said, why don't you come there? You're on parole. He said, read scripts for me. He said, I value your opinion. We're doing some crime stuff, and maybe we'll get into doing a movie about your life at some point in time. I said, Howard, great. I said, what am I going to do for a year? I'll spend time with you on a lot. So that's what I'm doing. During that time, Howard says to me, Mike, I got a favor to ask you. I have another very dear friend of mine, and he got in some trouble. He's going off to prison, never been in trouble before, doesn't know what prison life is all about. I want to introduce you to him. Maybe you can talk to him, tell him what to expect, so on and so forth. I said, yeah, no problem. I said, who is it? Well, his name was Bruce McNall. Now, for those of you who don't know who Bruce McNall is, he's a very dear friend of mine now, but great, great, great guy. He used to own the LA Kings hockey team. And Bruce was responsible for bringing Wayne Gretzky from a hockey team in Canada. I forget which team he was on. I think it was Edmonton Oilers, I think. Don't correct me if I'm wrong. And he brought him to the LA Kings. It was a huge trade. And as a result of that trade, I would say that Bruce McNall is responsible for really making hockey, the NHL, what it is in America. Because bringing Wayne Gretzky here was a huge deal, right? But Bruce is a real mover and shaker, really likable guy, made a lot of money in the coin business at one point in time and dealing with certain things, moved into sports. He owned a Canadian Football League, I think. Big guy, great guy. Everybody that meets Bruce loves him. He and I become dear friends. I love the guy. That's Bruce McNall. Got himself in some trouble. I don't know exactly what it was all about. You know, a bank fraud. I don't know. Doesn't matter. I don't judge people by that. Anyway, I said, yeah, happy to meet him. So I meet with Bruce. He tells me what the story is. We kind of start to meet and become friends. We go to lunch. His longtime girlfriend at the time became friendly with my wife, Camille. So we struck up a real good friendship. So the day comes after he took a plea that he has to surrender. Well, where does he have to surrender to? Lompoc Federal Prison. Now, I was there. That's where I did a lot of my time. He was going to be sent to the camp. I was in the, they have 3 institutions there. They have a penitentiary, they have a medium security, that's where I was, and then they have a camp where Bruce was going. So he said to me, Michael, would you mind driving me? I said, no, Cammie and I will drive you, Amara, no problem, we'd love to do it. So I go to his house that morning and to pick him up, right? So I'll never forget, I walk in the door and I see a huge hockey bag. Now, hockey bags are big, right? And in the bag, Bruce has got all the stuff that he thinks he's taken into prison. So I said, Bruce, where are you going with that hockey bag? He said, well, Michael, there's some stuff I need. You know, there's underwear and books and all that. I said, Bruce, you're going to prison. They're not going to let you bring this stuff in. He says, well, you sure? Let's try. I said, hey, we got nothing to lose. Let's try. I knew he wasn't going to get it in. I said, but let's try. What do we got to lose? So when you go and surrender at Lompoc, even though he went into the camp, you have to surrender and be processed at the prison, the maximum security prison there. So we go in there and we're in the waiting room, so to speak, and Bruce has got his big hockey bag. And the 4 of us are in there. Bruce checks in, and he's waiting for the lieutenant to come out, to check him in and bring him inside and start to process him. So I'll never forget, after about 15, 20 minutes, the lieutenant comes out, stern-looking guy, stern face. He's in the penitentiary. And he looks at Bruce. He looks down at the hockey bag, and he says, what's that? And Bruce says, well, that's, some stuff. I'm going into the camp that I want to bring in. The lieutenant looks at him and says, get it out of here. Nothing comes in. Now, Bruce is thrown at that point in time. Look, it's kind of imposing. You go to the prison, first time, the guy was never in trouble in his life. He wasn't a criminal in my view, like I knew street guys. So Bruce is shaken, right? So I said, Bruce, don't worry about it. You'll be in here for one night. They'll process you. You go to the camp and everything will be fine. Don't worry about it. So we leave, and I'm carrying a hockey bag out, and with my wife and his girl, Mara. And as we're walking out, one of the trustees, an inmate who was outside of the camp, he was doing the gardening work there, sees me, and he spots me. Hey, Mike, how you doing? I say, hey, so-and-so, how are you? I forget his name. And he says, what are you doing here? I says, well, Bruce McNall is checking in today. He says, yeah, we heard about it. We're all excited. The owner of the Kings, former owner of the Kings. I said, okay, listen, I need a favor from you. Come here. I said, in this hockey bag, this is Bruce's stuff. He wants to get it inside. I said, there's no contraband in here. There's books and clothing and underwear and all this kind of stuff. I said, how could I get it in? So he looks at me, he says, okay. He says, down the road there, you see that wheelbarrow? He says, drop it in the wheelbarrow and don't worry about it. I'll take it inside afterwards. I said, you got it. I said, but listen, Bruce is going to call me tonight. I want to make sure everything that's in his bag gets to Bruce. Don't play no games on me. He said, no, Mike, I promise. Okay, great. So now my wife and Mara had walked ahead. We go to the car and I say, look, I'm going to get this bag in for Bruce. I'm going to put it in that wheelbarrow. I told my wife, you drive. Mara, you go in the front seat. I'll get in the back. When we get near the wheelbarrow, stop the car. I'm going to jump out and put the bag in the wheelbarrow. Forget about it. My wife is having a fit. Are you kidding me? You're on parole. You're going to go back to jail. Mara is scared. No, please, I don't want to get in trouble. These 2 women are going crazy, especially my wife. She said, you're crazy. How are you going to do this? It's contraband. She knew the terminology. She was with me for 8 years, right? And I said, listen, this is important. He wants, it's his own stuff in there. You don't understand. It's so important. Let me get it in for him. So she's driving. And as we're getting in the wheelbarrow, I'm telling her, stop. And she's afraid. She don't want to stop. She says, I don't want to do it. I says, Cam, stop the car. She don't want to stop. I open the door, and I jump out. I drag the bag out. I run over to the wheelbarrow. She's still driving, right? Slow, still driving. And I throw the bag into the wheelbarrow. I run back to get into the car. I close the door. I said, great, it's done. Bruce is going to be happy. And all of a sudden behind me, right? There goes the flashing lights. One of the CEOs must have seen me dropping in, and he comes after us. I'm going to tell you something. You never saw two women more afraid than what they saw now. My wife said, "You're going back to jail. That's it. It's all over." And they're all upset, So I said, "Look, stop the car and just stay here." I jump out of the car. The CO, correctional officer, jumps out. He recognizes me. He says, "Franzese, what are you doing? What was in that bag?" I said, "Officer, listen to me." I said, "Bruce McNall is checking into the camp tonight. He's a good friend of mine. He's NHL, hockey, really great guy." He said, "He's got some stuff in the bag. I promise you, none of it is contraband. It's underwear, it's some books, it's socks, it's a pair of pants, a sweatshirt, no contraband." I said, "I just wanted to get it in for him." He was a little shaken up, and I'm explaining it to him. He's looking at me, and he said, "Franzese, get in the car and get out of here right now." I said, "Thank you." I jump in the car. I said, "Cam, take off." And we got off the prison grounds like really fast, right? She's driving. She's still upset. They wouldn't even talk to me. I said, "Pull over. Let me drive. I don't want to sit in the back seat." Finally convinced her. She wouldn't talk to me for about 2 weeks after that. But anyway, that night at about 12:30, I get a call from Bruce. He's in the camp, and I said, "Bruce, I got one question." He said, "What? Are you sleeping in your own underwear tonight?" He said, "Yes." That was it. So I knew that he got the bag and everything was okay. But and then Bruce ended up doing, I think he got 70 months. He ended up doing 5 years. He also produced the movie Weekend at Bernie's. Big producer also, very good friends with Goldie Hawn. Just an iconic guy. Still very, very close with Wayne Gretzky. I met Mario Lemieux and Chelios and all these hockey guys, Luc Robitaille. Through Howard and Bruce McNall, I met all of these guys. We became friends. Actually went to Hawaii together. I started playing golf because of my relationship with all these hockey players, because they're great athletes, great at golf. My first golf game was in Hawaii. We played with all of these guys. Anyway, so that's it. And Bruce is out now, is doing well. I think Netflix is preparing a movie on his life. And, he's still active and doing things. Great, great, great guy, but I think he did 5 years total in prison. But sometimes you meet friends in the strangest way, people, really. But there was a relationship I enjoy. Howard's still making movies, still doing well, and it's all good. For those of you that are asking me, I'm not supposed to tell anybody this, okay? But everybody's saying in the comments, "Michael, on the YouTube channel, Michael, they got to make a movie about your life, a TV series, so on and so forth." This is on the QT. I signed a deal with a major production company only a few short months ago, and right now a story is being developed on my life. It's going to be for television. It's a TV series. I don't know what platform or network it'll be on. They're not going to announce anything until a deal is made. I think I might have said this once before. This is a crazy business. You never know, especially through this COVID. But this is a great, great company that I'm with. If I mention their name, you'd know them. A lot of big movies, a lot of big things that they did. I got a great writer-director on this. So, hopefully one day soon you'll be hearing the announcement. And yes, it will be a TV series. And it's going to be authentic. It's going to be great. We got a great team working on this, so just watch for it. So for those of you that are asking me, hopefully you got your answer now. So with that, once again, I want to thank everybody, michaelfranzese.com, that's jumping onto my community. We got well over 3,000 people now. Everybody's being encouraged. Everybody is encouraging one another. So many great things are being posted. We are preparing so much good content that's been putting on there. People are really enjoying it. It's been very uplifting, especially through this whole COVID experience. So jump on. It's free to join my crew, join the community. It's free. For those of you that want to advance to the next level, get more of me. Let me help you with your business skills, your leadership skills, just anything in life, anything that I can encourage you and be of help to. Another tier in that, but you're in my inner circle, and I know it's going to be very valuable to you. We're enjoying it. The people that are involved, getting a lot out of it. So, michaelfranzese.com, jump on that. For all those of you that are continuing to watch me on YouTube, and like I told you, eventually, in the next 2 or 3 months, when COVID starts to calm down and we can meet with people, I'm going to be interviewing people that you're going to love to hear from. Mike Tyson, all these kind of guys that I'm friendly with, you're going to love it. And you're going to hear different questions from me than you might hear from the normal guy. Trust me on that. But again, I don't want to do anything on Zoom. It's all going to be one-on-one. We're in the room together. That's how I like to deal with people. So Thank you again for everything, for all your support. Hope you enjoyed today's stories. Stay healthy, stay well, be good, stay on the right track, stay on the right path. God bless you all. See you next time.